Madhave Charanarvinda, His Divine Grace, Bhaktisiddhanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Bhaktivinoda ki Jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki Jai, MC Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki Jai, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Tiruvav Mahamahotsav Tithi ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manovistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamai Andadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalan Sri Gurun Vaisnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatan Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadotam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Sagopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastuti Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindabanesware Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha kripa sindhu eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaisnavebhyo namo namaha. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namini Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desatarini Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Iti Namini Madhuryojjvala premadya Sri Rupanuga Sri Gaura Karuna Sakti Vigrahaya Namostute Namaste Gauravani Sri Murtaye Dinatarine Rupanuga Viruddha Papasiddhanta Dhvantaharine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. Thank you so very much for being here in this beautiful morning Srimad Bhagavatam class. It is a special day today, the Disappearance Day of one of our Vartaman Acharyas, His Divine Grace Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Goswami Maharaj. We all know about him, little or more. He is widely known within the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya and within the society in northern India, especially in the West Bengal, Odisha, and other places as a lion guru. Lion. Tiger? More ferocious than tiger. Lion. Guru. And born from the family. This was money for you, Prabhuji. I brought here. From our book distributors. See? And, I'm sorry. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he was very fortunate to have a birth from a Vaishnava family. And he's not an ordinary soul that takes birth here in this world for karmic reaction. He's just appointed as a preacher, the eternal associates of the Supreme Lord, Lord Chaitanya. So when he comes, he has a mission to fulfill. Any acharya, when they come and preach, they do have a special mission to complete, to accomplish, to establish the teachings of the Supreme Lord according to time, place, and circumstances. So that is the duty of acharyas. We have so many acharyas in the history in the past: Madhvacharya, Ramanujacharya, Nimbarkacharya, and Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Bhaktivedanta Swami, so many Ananda Tirthas, so many great acharyas in the Vaishnava lineage. So Gaudiya Math, Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, they are also known as the unification of all the acharyas together in one nutshell. That is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tried to do, that all the Vaishnava acharyas, they are preaching the different aspect of the Supreme Lord. Now he is trying to bring together everything together and make it even better and complete and accessible and sweet and more persuasive philosophy. So when time changes, people lose the potency of spiritual life. Adi anta banta kaunteya. So everything has beginning and end. That's what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. This material world, the creation, everything that is created, that has beginning and end. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu preached this love of God, spreading of Sankirtan Yajna in his time, he was extensively preaching throughout India and establishing this highest dharma for the age, Yuga Dharma, Harinama Sankirtan. And it was spreading like a wildfire in different places, in different areas. Great philosophers who would not consider God as a person were convinced and converted into the philosophy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Achintya Veda Veda Tattva, that you are one with God, you are not one with God. You are existing eternally as the Supreme Lord exists, because you are part and parcel of Him. So this way, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has brought a big flood of Sankirtan Yajna, and great influential people in the society were defeated with their so-called casteism, so-called Hinduism, so-called philosophy that would not propagate the personality of God, the feature of the Lord, that would not glorify the personal beauty, the attributes of Lord, but they would simply enjoy in describing God is great, God is power, God is energy, God is invincible, God is inapproachable, all kind of things. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu brought this cult of bhakti. It's not a cult, but it's this process of bhakti and to the outer society, which was beyond the jurisdiction of Brahminical approach. In the past, Brahmins would take the responsibility of all the Vedas, Upanishad, all the knowledge, and they would limit that practice within themselves. And on the strength of that special power that was granted to them, and they would exploit, rule, and do all kind of things to the other society, people in the society. And all the other people in the society would think that this devotional service or bhakti yoga or aradhana, the worshipping of the Lord, is the job of Brahmin. Recently, one Bengali lady called me and she's asked me, "Oh, can we offer bhoga to the Lord because we are not Brahmin?" My mother told me that a Brahmin told her, "We cannot offer bhoga to the Lord because you are not Brahmin." So that was the situation. And great preacher Haridas Thakur, Advaita Acharya, Srinivas Acharya, and then so many other followers came later, and 6 Goswamis, they composed the book, lot of literatures on the instruction of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in order to make people understand that simply chanting and dancing has been supported and backed up by the deepest and highest philosophy. So Jiva Goswami composed, studying all the books of the Goswamis, studying all the Vedas, studying all the Upanishads, studying all the knowledge, spiritual knowledge that exists, and he churned all those knowledge and then concluded in 6 sandarbhas and presented in Sanskrit to the higher educated, learned class of the society. So that way they preserved the teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, backed up with philosophy from the Vedas. So when time changes by, when it came down to Bhakti Vinod Thakur, then this Sankirtan movement was really has such a cheap value in the society. All the educated, erudite scholars, they were thinking this Hare Krishna movement as the lowest spiritual sexualism. You got the point? Because of so many deviation in the society, because of so many different groups of sahajas, Aula, Bahula, Saki Beki, and Gauri Naga. There, the Bhaktivinoda Thakur listed them as more as 13. All these would, and they were mixed with tantric practice, and the society was really polluted in the name of Sankirtan movement, and people would like keep long hair and organize confidential Kirtan chanting parties, beautiful women, and do all kind of things, act like the gopis, and somebody act like Krishna, and perform some sexual activities. So the learned class of the people at that time of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, they were joining the Brahma society, or they were also with Ramakrishna Mission. You know Ramakrishna Mission?
Ramakrishna Mission around here. I think in India.
Not here. Yeah, they are Brahman Samaj. You know, Brahman Samaj, they were completely different from Sankirtan mission. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he wanted to rescue the teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and re-establish the preaching in the society again. To cleaning up from all this contamination of this blame, this cheap sahajas practicing, and totally lost in philosophy. So he wrote a book, many literatures. Then he was thinking, just like when Lord Vyasadeva composed all the literatures, Bhagavatam, then he was thinking, who would be the qualified condition to preach this knowledge? Then his son, Sukadeva Goswami, was requested, and he started preaching the Srimad Bhagavatam. So in the same way, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, he was a very busy man, family man. His one wife passed away, he got married, and he had like dozens of children, 10 or more children. And he was acting as a magistrate in the British government. He was really busy. At the same time, he was studying all this knowledge, and he was very much worried about the degrading condition of the philosophy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at the time. So he prayed to the Lord that, may I get a qualified son who can take my teachings, my books, and preach in the society. So this way, Bimal Prasad Datta, the son of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, the name of our Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, his name was Bimala Prasad Datta. was born in 1874 and 6th February in Jagannath Puri, from the womb of Mother Bhagavati Devi, wife of Bhakti Vinod Thakur. So in Jagannath Puri, there is a temple of Mother Parvati. He would go there every day and pray, Mother, definitely I need a child to preach this knowledge. So kindly grace me one child. And this is how he was born. And some scriptures, some books explain that when he was born, there was a mark of a sacred thread in his body. His bodily feature was really the body of like a Mahajan, great personality, tall, long bodies, fingers, hairs, everything was said nice. And he was blessed by, we know the story that how he was blessed by Lord Jagannath himself. When there was a chariot festival, the chariot was stopped for 3 days. And when his mother brought the child and the pujari, they took the child to the altar on the top, on the chariot, and the beautiful garland of Lord Jagannath fell in his body, and then the cart moved. So this was how he was blessed by Lord Jagannath, and it was the plan of the Lord, and he is also known as the ray of Vishnu. He has that quality. He had the quality of a spiritual master. And then when his father was writing all this book, he was learning all philosophy from the very childhood. From his father, he would study. Sometimes he would help his father making some correction, and then proofreading and everything like that. So when we were reading this pranam mantra of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Namaste Namaste Gaura Bani Sri Murtaye Dinatarine Rupanuga Viruddhapa Apasiddhanta Dvanta Harine. Apasiddhanta Dvanta Harine. That was his main purpose of his preaching. So if we do not know anything about him and we have to talk about him, so we can just say that Apasiddhanta Dvanta Harine. He was destroying this deviated philosophy. Siddhanta is good, Apasiddhanta is a bad philosophy. So his main focus was that to establish this real Siddhanta, to establish the real Siddhanta. And so all this sentimentalism in the materialistic way of life and this degraded spiritual society, all kind of things was very prevalent at that time. And then he was there to destroy all these things, and he attracted so many learned scholars in his preaching, when he was preaching. Like normally when we talk about the philosophy, spiritual thing in the Western world, people always talk about harmony, uniting society, love, all kind of conception about spiritual life. But Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was destroying all these externally prevalent activities in the name of spiritual societies, spiritual people in that time. And he was very much able to do so. And he has great disciples like Sundarananda Vidya Vinod, and other great disciples, sannyasi disciples. And because of his highly scholarly preaching, and he wanted to establish that Gaudiya Vaishnavism is not just sentimentalism. It is not just about very cheap Sahajyaism. it is completely pure and above of all of this, and it is completely aligning with the teachings of the Vedas, Upanishad, and Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. So he would always talk the philosophy, the tattva, and then he never discuss about rasa, gopi, Vrindavan, lila, all these things. He was, but within his heart, he was practicing Raganuga Bhakti. That was he was bridging the gap that was created by the society at that time, and he had to establish what real bhakti is, what is the real meaning of devotion. So he says that this chanting of Hare Krishna mantra is not simply an act of producing sound from your vocal cord. He took it as a war, external and internal war. Externally, you are fighting with materialism, bad conception of spiritual life, this Sahasyaism and Mayabad. That was external fighting. That is what he would see the real Kirtan means. And internally, we are fighting with our mind. We have our senses. We are struggling here. We are trying to be happy, going away from Krishna. We are trying to adjust our material happiness. And with so many ways. So he was taking it as a real war. And he was really a revolutionary preacher that many people in the society did not appreciate what he would do. Not at all appreciate, and they would not even understand what he would do. One time when he opened the curtain in temple in Calcutta, there was a printing press in the altar. And one professor came, and then he went to see Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. What are you doing here? Where is the deities? The temple is a printing press. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur told him that you are a blind man, you do not see the Lord. Which is more important, to worship God or his devotees? This printing press is devotee of Lord, he is serving, printing so many books. These books goes thousands of miles away. Your chanting, playing kartal and drum can be heard within your house. And he would preach people like that. And he would take very, very difficult vows in his life. Like he once took a vow of chanting 9 crore rounds of mala, which he calculated it would take like 9 years to complete. 9 crore rounds. And there was a meeting in the society one time, and then he was invited to speak in the meeting of Brahmanas, because Brahmanas were really tough at that time, and they would not count these sentimental Hare Krishnas as authorized spiritual people. They were really, that was the situation of movement, you can imagine. And in that sabha of the Brahmanas, he glorified Brahmin, quoting all the quotation from the scriptures. And then after completing the glorifying Brahmana, then he started talking about Vaishnavas. So he says Brahmanas are highest in the society, but if a Brahmana is not a Vaishnava, if Brahmana does not, if Brahmana only understand who God is, and if they do not serve God, if a Brahmana is not a Vaishnava and does not serve God, he is lower than a Chandala. That's what he openly said. They are lower than dog eaters, because they become very puffed up of their knowledge, and they do not serve the Lord, and they are no better than a Chandala. So that scholarly assembly really appreciated Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's point about the importance of being a Vaishnava. And even though he was criticized by many people, but real scholars, they appreciated that point that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur raised. and he established this Gaudiya Math philosophy as the highest, topmost philosophy that was personally given by Lord himself, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Mayavadis were already destroyed by previous acharyas. What was the need of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur to take care of them again? Some people were asking, raising such questions at the time. Madhvacharya preached against Mayavad. Ramanujacharya extensively preached against Mayavada. And later on, that deep influence was still in the society. And even Vaishnavas were turning Vaishnava Mayavad. They were going to listen in Jagannath Puri. They were listening from Shankaracharya sannyasis. And there was a big problem that they were falling apart. And they were almost like Vaishnava sannyas, Mayavadis. So he had to destroy that as well. He had to correct that as well. And he went to South India. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he went to South India and brought some book from Madhvacharya's book and Ramanujacharya book, like Mayavada Khandanam. That was the book he published, which was the book written by Madhvacharya. Mayavada Khandanam, the defeating Mayavad. And also he published that book in his praise, from his praise, and also Tatparya Chandrika from Vyasatirtha. It was from them, and then he brought that and published. And he got some book from Ramanuja Sampradaya, Saranagati Gadyam. That book he brought and published in Gaudiya Math. And in this way, he united all this Vaishnava philosophy. And he also published the book, Kulasekhara's book. What is the book that we have? Mukundamala Stotram. Kulasekhara is a devotee from Ramanujacharya Sampradaya. So this way, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur really established this Vaishnava Siddhanta and defeated Mayavad Siddhanta. And then after he completed bhav, chanting that 9 crore malas, he was going and screaming, saying Hare Krishna, Krishna, and that people said that was actually he got the Krishna prema. He was bestowed real Krishna prema by his strong sadhana. And then when he was chanting that, screaming the name of God, some paper from I don't know, Bhagavat, Brihad Bhagavata or Chaitanya Bhagavata, I don't know. Some paper came in the air fly. And then there was 3 messages written. Vaishnava Seva Jiva Doya, Nama Ruchi, Jiva Doya, Vaishnava Seva. And then he says, I got the Ruchi in the taste in holy name. I did so much chanting. And Vaishnava Seva, I am serving Vaishnava. So Jiva Doya, in order to do the Jiva Doya, now I need to establish the official preaching program. So he went to British office in Calcutta and he registered his preaching like Gaudiya Math. And he was establishing 64 maths all over India. And he was very strict in his following regulations. He would never compromise. Srila Prabhupada says that if my guru was here, he would not be existing here. I am like, he says, I am like 70% lenient than my Guru Maharaj. But from within his heart, my Guru Maharaj was very, very soft person from inside. And when the preaching comes, he would never compromise. He would act like a lion. He would often go to Brajamandal Parikrama, and he would see all the Babajis in Vrindavan, and he says, I see none of them as, all of them, I see all of them are neophyte. I could not hardly find anybody who studied Jiva Goswami's Sandarbhas. They are all just making show up. They are not real people. And he was attempted to be killed in so many places and so many ways. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur wanted to take the attention from British government in order to be famous in the society, so that people would afraid of him. So he invited the mayor, of the British government. They were located in Calcutta that time. And when they were there, he even fed them non-Vaishnava food, because they would not like prasad, In order to preach Krishna consciousness, he would compromise anything. He would go to any extreme point. So that was Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And sometimes he would be waiting in the temple outside, and when these Mayavadi people would come, he would grab them by their beard and then shake them, their head, and chastise them for mispreaching. And most of the time, whenever they would see him, they would take the course of their way and they would go another way. They would avoid him all the time. That was Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And he also started the mission of lifelong brahmachari mission with a certain number of people. Later on, all people left him. And he would call his, he would curse his Grihastha family that you cheated me. You cheated me. May your family and house be burned. Because you left God, Krishna, and then you found the happiness in getting married, and he would think that it's a big deviation. It's like very, very unique. It's not like Prabhupada or other acharyas that, okay, if you are unable to control your senses, you can go to a Grihastha ashram, then progress and work and enjoy, marry. Okay, he would not compromise that way. He would be very, very serious about delivering the conditioned soul. That was the depth of his concern over the living entities, that if you are stuck in a family life, and if you start enjoying your family life and compromising the Siddhanta, then there is 100% guarantee that you would be deviated from Krishna consciousness, and you would be under the influence of Maya. You will be easily carried away by the influence of Maya, and you cannot be successful in your spiritual attempt to return back home, back to Godhead. That was his primary concern, that everyone focused on this mission seriously. So, and he would like one time in Bipin Bihari Goswami, his Bhaktivinoda Thakur's guru, Bipin Bihari, he came his home, and then somehow he let Bhaktivinoda Thakur to touch his feet. And then Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur chastised him and saying that, do you know who is he? Then later on, the Guruji became upset with the child behavior and complained to Bhaktivinoda Thakur that what does he think himself? Who is he? He's like, who is he that questioning to me? And Bhaktivinoda Thakur internally was very happy with that act of his son, and later on he revealed who he was. And in his spiritual world, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur served as a manjari, Nayana manjari. So anytime he would hear the name of Radha, his heart would pound like people. His disciple could see the changes in his body very emotionally. He would really feel the Radharani's name. And one of the disciple that he had, and they say, he met Rabindranath Tagore. You know Rabindranath Tagore, the famous poet of that time. And he discussed about Rabindranath Tagore, and he asked him, "Where should I go to preach this knowledge of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Which country should I go?" And he suggested him, "British is the leader ruling all over the world. You can go to Britain." And also Hitler at that time was very powerful and conquering all the world. You also can go to Germany and preach. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he actually sent his disciple to Britain, and they returned. And they say that, "Guru Maharaj, preaching in the West is almost impossible. They are asking so many difficult questions, and it's very difficult to answer them and convince them. It is so impossible." Then those sannyasis were coming from highly educated Brahminical family. They were not like ordinary people, but they saw that it was impossible to preach in Western world. And then they would discuss among themselves in the evening, and then what kind of question they would ask, and then devotee our Prabhupada would answer them. And then Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur would say, "Eastern win the Western. Easterners win the Westerners." And he would be very happy that devotees bringing forth the argument and defeating this impersonal Buddhism, Western philosophy. And later on, Bhakti Vinod Srila Prabhupada was attracted by him, and by the mercy of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, he took that mission, preaching this Krishna consciousness all over the world, that he took this mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's prediction, Prithivite Jate Jata Adi Nagaradi Gram, Sarvatra Prachara Hoibe Moranam. So that prediction was carried on and fulfilled by lately Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada by tireless effort of Bhakti Vinod Thakur and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And then this Hare Krishna movement has been established all over the world. It is still going on. And we all are the family member of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's family, Gaudiya Vaishnava family. So we can imagine how fortunate we are. And on this day, we can meditate on Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur and ask his blessing, so that we can realize the importance of spreading and preaching this movement. And that might inspire us to go out and distribute some books to fallen conditioned soul, by which they can understand the importance of spiritual life. They can understand that they are spirit soul, and they might take up Krishna consciousness. That is what pleases these acharyas the most. Instead of thinking about our own benefit, about our own spiritual progress, about our own comfort zones, if we come out and take a challenge and try to help the mission of great acharyas, that ultimately pleases Supreme Personality of Godhead, and we will be undoubtedly blessed by pleasing them in this way. So this is all about Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. There are so much to discuss and share about him, but we do not have much time. And he had so many things. I did not include that we already know. Like he took a vow not to take mangoes in his lifetime because he once ate mango without offering to the Lord. One time they were traveling in the train. Mayavadi is saying everything is same, you are same, I am same. And he ordered his disciple to take the rotten mangoes and feed him. If it is same, then there is no difference between rotten and ripe bitter mangoes. So all kind of things are there about him. And he was the dear disciple of Gaura Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj. Namo Gaura Kishoraya. Namo Gaura. What was the mantra? Yeah, Namaste Gaura. Sorry. Yeah, Namaste Gaura Bani. Sri Murtaya Dinatarine. Yeah, Vipralam Rasam Bodhi. Sorry, Bhaktisiddhanta Harini. This is how he destroyed this misconception of materialistic way of life and Sahajam Mayavad and established this Krishna's sweetness, beauty, and everything. And at the time of his death, before he leave, he told his disciple that may all these people who I may have offended with my harsh words, but they will realize that I was doing that for their benefit. One day they will realize that they will understand that I was actually benefiting them, not putting them down. And his writing, he was preaching through the very high standard of writing because he purposefully wrote that very standard top grade English because he wanted to attract the intelligent class of the people so that he could distinguish from sentimental Sahajism and real philosophy. That was the main reason that his writings are very tough. I cannot understand anything. Even his Bengali writings are mixed with high class Sanskrit words. The Bengali themselves would not understand his writings. Can you imagine? He was doing that purposefully because he wanted to re-establish the prestige of the philosophy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So in order to do so, he has to be something different in the society. So that really attracted the erudite, the learned class of the people at that time. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. This is who he is, Lion Guru. And he would always say that whenever new people come to the temple, he would say, Dasoham, I am your servant. He would never order his disciple to do so. He would always request. He would always address them, Prabhu, could you please do this? He would see them as the gift of God. And he said that even our dog in Gaudiya temple's dog can defeat the great scholar in the society. That much confidence he has in that much conviction he has in his preaching. That even a dog of Gaudiya Vaishnava Mandir should defeat a big scholars. And sometimes he would say that when somebody come in and ring the bell, neophyte devotee ring the bell in the temple, he is many times higher than so-called Brahmin who are not devotees and so-called scholars in the society. So that is what he wanted to establish, the importance of the devotees and serving the Lord. And this is why he wanted to print book and distribute knowledge so that people could understand and read. And that was his whole purpose. And he was always against the so-called preachers, devotees, and he was always criticized in the societies, and he was attempted to be murdered in many times, but he never gave up. Sometimes when his devotees were preaching in Dhaka, and they were strictly preaching the message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as per the instruction of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and people would throw a stone to them. And when Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur heard that, he would be very happy. This is very good that these people are agitated and they try to understand this is what we need to do. He would never fear, never compromise, and never flatter people. Like we flatter, we go to some people, oh, you great, Haribo, how are you doing? Nice. Yeah, we are same. No, he would not say, we are not same. We are different. Anything else? Any addition? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Please forgive me, it was like all of a sudden I had to come and talk.
Yeah. I was just thinking about that. There's one letter, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta. So many nice nectar points.
Yeah.
Srila Bhaktisiddhanta's letters, and you can read them. There's one letter where Srila Bhaktisiddhanta says, because we're so in Maya, Krishna constantly keeps us in misery, pain, sorrow, and calamity. And so this is why, we have to experience these things. And he says, as you advance in Krishna consciousness, you realize more and more that you're not advanced, that you're fallen. You'll realize how fallen you are
yes.
by chanting Hare Krishna.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's always nice to think, we think we're getting, sometimes we think, oh, I'm making progress, but the real advancement is when you realize you're not making progress, you realize how far you are behind. So it's just a really encouraging letter.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, Vaishnav Seva equals Nam Seva, becomes Nam Seva. Nam Seva becomes Vaishnav Seva. And he says the same about Hari Seva. Hari Seva becomes Nam Seva, becomes Vaishnav Seva.
Thank you. Beautiful. His disciples were discussing later about who Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was, because sometimes people would misunderstand him. When he went to Vrindavan, and then instead of talking about Vrindavan Lila, he would give lecture on Upanishads and other philosophical things. And they say that our Guru Maharaj can be understood in two-way steps. That one, he crossed the philosophy of Mayavad. Another one, he practiced Raganuga Bhakti. He was soft like a rose within his heart, and he was like a lion outside in preaching the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he hid his personal emotions. He was very humble. He was never chanting and dancing in the public, and so that to attract the attention. And he was always remaining away from public appreciation. And he would know that if I am just simply doing it for name, fame, and this thing, then I would definitely deviate as well. So that was his personal emotion for God was always kept hidden, because he wanted to remain humble. At the same time, he was priest. He did not care for himself. So we can understand how great he was. Now, yes, Prabhu.
There's one story I like, where there's a person who would come to his lectures, and he would always criticize Bhaktisiddhanta. And then this person who was criticizing Bhaktisiddhanta, he passed away. And everybody was rejoicing in the Gaudiya Math. Oh, this creep, this guy is finally left the scene. Bhaktisiddhanta said, no, he was my friend.
Mm-hmm.
He said he was crying.
Yeah, he was crying. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was my friend. Yeah.
Yeah, another story, I just remember that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was one time, he was sick. He got a fever and very sick. And that time devotees were like in the mart, they were fighting among the devotees, there was a fight about the room, temple, and this and that. And I'm not sick, but I'm leaving 10 years before because you are quarreling, and then I could leave 10 years more. But I'm leaving before because you guys are not cooperating, you are fighting for something. So he would not like devotees quarrel for trivial things. Acharya Kesari, that was he. The Lion Guru Acharya Kesari, that was the title given to him, like a ferocious, leading, topmost acharyas.
Did you talk at all about just before he left? Or how he left?
No, you can.
There's a tale about that. Well, he gave a talk, it's in the Lilamrita,
Mm-hmm.
about how things should go on after his demise. And we have that because somebody was there. This was before tape recorders, this in India. And some brahmachari took notes. And it's in the Lilamrita too. And he said, so you should all work conjointly.
Yeah.
You have no other ambition but to be the dust of Rupa Ramana. Yeah. You should form a GBC and work conjointly. He used the word conjointly.
Yeah.
But then they didn't do it.
That's why Prabhupada had to do it.
Yeah, they didn't do it. And that's one reason why Prabhupada did form a GBC. Not, he just said that on the eve of his passing. But Prabhupada, he formed fully 7 years before he left.
In Gaudiya Math, even today, they are fighting over who is Acharya, who is leading, among themselves in different maths. Big fight going on right now, even today.
He didn't appoint anybody. He said you should all work together. You don't replace the founder Acharya. He was the founder Acharya of the Gaudiya Math. You just work cooperatively. Carry on initiating, sure, but you're not the head. The head is the founder Acharya.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhu.
Was he the younger son of Bhaktisiddhanta?
Yajna?
No.
No.
He was the fifth.
No.
Or the fifth.
So kind of in the middle.
Yeah.
Many children, but one children is richer.
Ray Vishnu.
Yeah. I said that. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj ki.